I'm going to show you a technique to quickly test an API endpoint in the browser's developer console. This technique works in all modern browsers. Obviously, we developers have tools like Postman and Insomnia to test our APIs. But this is for the scenario where we just want a quick test of an API endpoint, or if the user or users do not have access to Postman or any other GUI API test tool. The API that I will be using is dummy.json and their products resource. This endpoint supports the full CRUD functionality for testing. For all browsers, we always want to start out with by typing out about blank in the URL bar. We start out with a clean slate so that the browser doesn't think that we're trying to hijack the page. And then right click, inspect to bring up the console, go to console. The function is an immediately invoke function expression in the closure so that it will make the API request immediately upon invocation. It is an asynchronous function because, of course, the JavaScript native fetch function returns a promise. So then we await the response. We await the promise. And of course, we include error handling. And the promise is fulfilled and we get our products back from the API. And since we have a products resource here, we can narrow down this fetch even further. Now we're only bringing the products back. The dummy.json API itself allows me to pass query params. And in this case, I'm passing in limit to just 5 product. So I'm getting only 5 product back. And if we were to check our network tab, the fetch XHR tab, we can see the interaction with the API. And our status codes and headers. Of course, you can test all of the HTTP methods using this technique. Here, I will demonstrate the post. Of course, you will need an endpoint that will accept a post method. You would need to supply the body and then serialize it like you would in any application. And there is the result of a successful post. And for the record, I do not drive a BMW. I drive a 2009 Toyota Corolla that desperately needs new brakes. And if we were to visit the network tab, fetch an XHR, we see that we are getting a 201 back. When I taught this technique to other developers, QA testers, dev support people, DevOps people, product owners, and other business people, they loved it and found it very useful. What I would do is make a template of these tests and make it as generic as possible to allow people to enter their own data. And then I would post it somewhere on some sort of company-wide or organization-wide knowledge base repository like Confluence or whatever you use so that people can have access to it and be aware of it. That way they can do their own API testing so that before they come to you with a question or before they create a ticket, they can be more, I guess, more aware of the situation. And remember to always start out with an about blank, press enter, and then start your testing from there after you open up your console. This applies to all of the major modern browsers. I hope this was useful for you guys. Please consider subscribing to my channel. It's completely free. It doesn't cost you anything. Please consider giving the video a thumbs up if it helps. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.